for Moovit. Came from Israel this week to make some announcement here in Latin America. I'm very happy to be here. And I want to talk to you about how Moovit enables the future of urban mobility. I'll start with a very short introduction to those of you that do not know Moovit. By the way, anyone doesn't know what Moovit is? Okay, so I'll speak to you. So, as you know, around the world, only 900 million people use cars. All the other 8 billion people use public transportation. And this number is going to increase more and more. And it doesn't matter where these people live. In each one of these cities, transit takes a big time of people's life. These are actual time that we measured in different cities around the world and how much time people spend in transit every day. As a matter of fact, this week we're releasing a bigger survey specifically here in Brazil that compares different aspects of transit. How much time do they walk? How much time do they have to spend waiting for the bus at its stop? We're comparing 10 different cities here in Brazil, and we're going to have this report available in case you want to take a look. Now, time is not the only issue people experience in transit. There are also many uncertainties or many unknowns when people experience transit. They're not sure sometimes how to get somewhere, so they need directions. When they wait at bus stops or metro stops, they don't always know when the bus is going to arrive, so they're spending a lot of time waiting. If the metro escalator is broken, they want to be alerted about that. And Moovit's mission for the users around the world is to eliminate these uncertainties and to make every transit easier for them and more predictable. How do we do it? We take data from multiple sources, starting from the source at the upper left corner, official data from the governments, from the municipalities, including the schedule of the lines, the location of the stops, and other point of interests. In addition to that, we have many relationships with public transit agencies that allow us to get the GPS signal of the moving vehicles. In the cities where we have these connections, we can display to users the live arrival of the bus stop. As I'm sure you know, there are sometimes big differences between the schedule and the actual time that the bus is going to arrive. And having the connectivity to the GPSs allows us to calculate the actual arrival time for each one of the stops. But many cities around the world do not have official data available for developers. And many cities do not have also GPSs on their buses. The big cities here in Sao Paulo, Madrid, and other cities that we support, Paris, New York, of course they have it. But many, many, many small cities do not have that. And this is where Moovit is so unique compared to any other application in the field. We have a big component of crowdsourced data that's coming from the crowd, from the users, that helping us have the most accurate information in each one of the cities that we support. So we built into our application many crowdsourced features that are meant to get data from users. It can be data about the level of the service. Users can report that the bus is late, that the air condition is broken, that there's a security incident, for example. This is level of service type of reports, but users can also map and report about wrong data, a stop that has moved to a different location, or a stop that is currently closed. These three data sources, we take them in our special algorithm, we put them into a state-of-the-art application for Android, for iPhone, for the web users, that provides commuters everything they need in order to experience public transportation. Trip plan, schedules, real-time arrivals, service alerts, and other mobility options, like the ability here in several Brazilian cities to check the balance on the BOM card and to top up money to the BOM card from their phone. We're doing it in partnership together with Recarga Agora. So this is available here as another mobility option. And this is how users interact with the app. At the end of last year, our app won the Google Play Best App in the local category, something we're very proud of, out of millions of applications. And users can access all they need. And as I said before, we started 4 years ago just by offering public transportation. But as cities and users shift more and more to additional mobility options, we also integrate them into the product. So we have bike sharing stations integrated into the app in 110 cities. We offer also Uber and Get and Cabify integration into the app. And the last product that we introduced started in Israel, then in Rome, in Italy, and coming soon to Brazil as well, is Moovit Carpool. The ability for Moovit users to join drivers who commute to work every day, to join as passengers in the empty seats, and compensate the driver for the cost of the gas. That's the idea of Moovit Carpool. And as you can see, when you're planning a trip in Moovit, as a user, you can compare all of your options and make a decision based on how much time you want to take your trip to take, or how much money you wanted to spend. A little bit on numbers. In 4.5 years, we've grown to be the #1 application in the transit category with 55 million users and more. We provide our service in 43 languages. And by the way, we put a lot of effort last year in making our app accessible for people who are visually impaired and blind. And many organizations have credited that. And we provide the service in more than 1,200 cities around the world. Only here in Brazil, we support our service in 100 cities. We've built the biggest database in the world for public transit related information. We have more than 4.5 million bus stops mapped. Just to give you an idea for the scope, it's 50% more than the second app in the category. We're working with 4,500 transit operators, and our users are generating more than 100 million data points every day. Trips that they're planning, lines that they're scheduling, checking the schedule for, etc. And this allows us to have this enormous number of data. As I mentioned before, we are in 1,200 cities, and as a matter of fact, we're adding the Moovit service every 16 hours to a new city around the world. And it's possible because we have a very large community of local editors. We call them Mooviters. And these editors help create data in cities that the data does not exist, and also enhance and fix data, move stations, update the location, the schedules, etc. in many other cities. And this is what makes our app so unique, both in the number of cities that we support, but also the level of accuracy. The schedules are updated, the stops are in the right locations, the line shapes is correct, and this makes Moovit the most accurate application in the category. In addition to that, we have established very strong relationships with many cities around the world. I'll just name a few. Our biggest partnership to date here in Brazil is with the city of Rio, that selected Moovit as the official application for the Olympic Games. To give you an idea, before the Games began, the city changed the route of more than 2,300 lines. And during the games, there are also many changes. On the day of the marathon, the day of the triathlon, many things got changed. We created special tool, you can see it on the left, that appeared in the, this is a picture from CORE, the Center of Operation of the city of Rio. They looked at user reports. People that were on buses or bus stops looked at these reports and made decisions based on them. We also sent many push messages to millions of users that visited the games in order to alert them in real time about changes. This is one of the benefits of partnering, of cities partnering with Moovit, having direct connection, direct communication with the users. Oops. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about our vision. We look at the world of mobility as a stack of 4 layers. The physical layer is where the roads appear, the parking lots, the junction, and that's the physical layer. The next one is a data layer and the rules layer. People actually had to learn how to drive, how to obey to stop signs, how to get a driver license. This is what the rules layer looked like in the past. The vehicles layer include the trains, the buses, the cars, and the interface level is how users consumed mobility in the past. They used to check paper schedules, they used to hail to a driver, and they used to buy tickets from a machine. This is all changing now, and we experience this revolution these days and in the last 2 years. The first layer that actually got completely revolutionized is the interface level. People hail to a taxi using an app now, whether it's Uber, 99 Taxi, Easy Taxi, etc. And people get directions and check the schedules using Moovit. But if you think of the other layers, they have not changed much. The stations 100 years ago look pretty much how the stations look today, and cars have not changed. But this change is happening. It's starting now. Autonomous vehicles are starting to be developed, experiment in certain cities, and then within 5 to 10 years, this is going to be a lot more popular. The data and the rules layer is going to completely change. People are not going to drive. You don't need to learn how to drive. You don't need to know the driver's manual. You don't need to get a driver's license. Algorithms are going to control this. But the most important thing to pay attention, that computer cannot do it without data. Having the most robust database, with the most accurate schedules, with the most accurate information about all the lines of the city is going to be critical for this layer to succeed. And even the physical infrastructure, by the way, is going to change. We will not need parking lots anymore because autonomous vehicles are not going to park. They're just going to move and serve people. But we'll need a lot more drop-off zones and pickup zones. When we analyze these 4 layers, we realize that 2 layers here are critically to the success. The interface level is how consumers are going to consume the information, plan their trip, pay for their options, order their rides, etc. And the data and rules layer. That's the operating system of the future and smart city. And this is where Moovit is positioning itself. An app used by 55 million users, and data, the most accurate data, to allow every city become a smart city. Today, we're introducing for the first time our Smart Transit Suite. It's a set of tools that allow city, transit agencies, city planners, a set of tools that can improve their transit operation and management. And I will not present all because of time, and I invite you to take a look, talk to us later on, but I want to focus on the first one, urban mobility analytics. We use the enormous amount of data points that we generate every day in order to provide cities, city planners, center of operations, municipalities, governments, insights about where, when, and how people move around their cities. It's very granular, and it allows them to perform many different studies regarding origin and destination metrics. Where do people live? Where do people work? How do we get to the work office or back home? We show different aspects between different neighborhoods, and that can be the trips, the relative volume, the average time, and more. And it allows those agencies to understand in details how public transit is used in their city. If you don't mind, I want to switch and show you a quick demo of the city of Sao Paulo. So you can see here the live tool, basically, which has just a sample of the trips that we analyzed from our user base here in Sao Paulo over a period of time. We can include and select the different polygons that we want to research. So in this specific example, I'm showing how do people get from different polygons around the center of the city into Republica. What's the relative volume between the different neighborhoods? And you can see where most citizens are commuting into it, these areas. It allows also a very quick access to understand how much time people spend from each one of these polygons, and what are the primary transit types that they're using. Whether it's, first of all, you can see from a high-level perspective that buses take 75% and subway about 23%, but we can go a lot more granular than that. We can show what are the top lines users are using. And if you want to focus on a specific line as a city planner and understand whether there's areas for improvement in the service of the line, we can actually show you not only the route of this line, but what are the stops that commuters make their most transfers. So if you think about multimodal trips, that takes a lot of the types of transportation today, these are areas that require to pay attention to, potentially improve the level of service, improve the infrastructure there. But this is just one example of the type of studies we can make. City planners can use this to make changes, to make their lines more efficient, come more frequently, and more important, for the first time, they can implement a change, and 3 months later, run this analysis again to measure how did their changes impact the society. Today, in order to do that, cities typically do a survey once every 3 years, once every 5 years, and here in Sao Paulo, I believe the last one was almost 10 years ago. This eliminates the need to do these surveys and actually get actual results based on usage of millions. One thing that I also want to emphasize today, and one another reason for my trip here, is that we're strengthening our position here in Latin America. So far we had an office in Rio de Janeiro, and a country manager, Pedro, here in the audience, here in Brazil. And this week we announced a new partnership with the city of Buenos Aires and the opening of another office of Moovit in Latin America. We hired a country manager, and we're planning to continue and strengthen our position here in Brazil and in all the Spanish-speaking countries in Latin America. So thank you very much again. I'm happy to answer any questions if someone has any.